Scroll through the news on any given day and you'll see the same pattern repeat. A controversy erupts, social media ignites, and within hours, people are pressured to immediately take a side. Patience is labeled as a weakness. If you don't react fast enough, you're accused of not caring at all. But every so often, someone refuses to join the frenzy, asks questions, and insists on the facts. They appeal first to principles instead of hashtags, and almost instantly they're criticized for being slow. One of my favorite podcasters says to wait 72 hours before reacting whenever a new issue erupts in the political world. We live in a culture that equates speed with courage and volume with conviction, yet history shows that some of the most consequential decisions were made by people who resisted the rush, measured the cost, and chose principle over popularity. Liberty has always depended on voices willing to endure criticism to do the important over the urgent. Greetings, Patriots. I'm Perry Green. This is God in America, where we reconnect God and America by telling of His hand in our history. Today, we're looking at the founder, John Dickinson, whose influence came more from the ink than the iron. His life shows us that principle is not weakness and that faith can guide a nation even through conflict. Dickinson was born in 1732 and raised in a prosperous colonial family, but his deepest formation came through his Quaker faith. Quakers were known for their emphasis on conscience, moral restraint, and peace. That background shaped Dickinson into a man who believed liberty must rest on virtue and law, not passion alone. Mr. Dickinson first rose to prominence through a series of essays published between 1767 and 1768 called Letters from a Farmer in Pennsylvania. He wrote under a pen name, and those letters spread rapidly throughout the colonies. In clear, reasoned language, Dickinson warned that Parliament's new taxes violated the rights of Englishmen. He argued that if Parliament could tax the colonies without consent, liberty itself was at risk. One of his most quoted lines still echoes today: "Then we are taxed without our own consent. We are therefore slaves." Dickinson did not call for mob violence or immediate rebellion. Instead, he urged lawful resistance, unity among the colonies, and a return to constitutional principles. His letters helped awaken colonial resistance while tempering it with moral seriousness. In 1775, as the tensions with Great Britain rose to a breaking point, Dickinson played a central role in drafting the Olive Branch Petition. It was addressed directly to King George III, and the petition affirmed colonial loyalty to the crown while pleading for relief from oppressive policies. It was a final appeal to avoid war and to reconcile in humility and justice. The king never answered it. When the Second Continental Congress moved toward independence, Dickinson opposed the timing, believing the colonies were not yet united or prepared. For this reason, he abstained from voting on the Declaration of Independence. History sometimes criticizes him for that, but it's here that Dickinson's story becomes compelling. Though a Quaker, and though cautious about war, Dickinson did not abandon his country. When independence was declared, he accepted Congress's decision and joined the cause. He helped raise and lead a militia unit for the American War of Independence, serving in defense roles and risking his life for the liberty he had long defended with his pen. Dickinson's life reflects a biblical tension we often struggle to hold. Scripture calls us to pursue peace, but not at the expense of truth. Romans 12, verse 18 reads, "If it is possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men." The Olive Branch Petition revealed Dickinson's heart as a genuine attempt to live out that command, but Scripture also recognizes that peace is not always possible when injustice persists. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 8 reminds us that there is a time for war and a time for peace. Like Peter Muhlenberg in Virginia, Dickinson understood that moral responsibility requires discernment. Faith is not silence in the face of wrong, nor recklessness in the name of zeal. It is obedience to God, even when the path is costly and misunderstood. Our freedoms depend on men and women who are willing to speak truth early, stand firm patiently, and serve faithfully, even when history misreads them. Liberty is a gift from God, but it must be guarded by people of conscience. John Dickinson teaches us that courage is not measured by how quickly we fight, but by how faithfully we act once the path is clear. Like Dickinson, we must be willing to use our voices wisely, our influence carefully, and when required, our lives sacrificially. The pen that chose principle helped prepare a nation for freedom. Well, thanks for being with us today. Until next time, let's keep the light of principled liberty burning.